Okay, welcome to this session. And I must tell you that this is probably the last topic before we enter into the junctions. So, towards the end of this lecture, whatever we are going to, the equations which we are going to get, we will just apply certain boundary conditions and we will find out the models for the device behaviors. Okay, so um, let's begin. Now, in today's lecture in the morning, when we discussed about the carrier transport, okay, we discussed about the basic drift and diffusion, right? Now, when we were discussing about drift and diffusion transport, we did not take into account the generation or recombination of the carriers inside the material. So that means what we were speaking of is that if we are applying a voltage here and there is a field between these two ends of the semiconductor, we were telling like what is the current which will be flowing through the semiconductor. We did not take into account like what is the current flowing from plus volts to ground. We did not take into account this part. So there may be situations where there are carriers generated inside the semiconductor because of multiple reasons. Okay, we did not take into account, which is very, very important, because remember, like, this will essentially lead to something called, I mean, the capacitance. What is the meaning of capacitance? Like the charge storage, right? The charges can be stored or recombined, or charges can be lost in the process. So in this lecture we are going to essentially look into that. This is something called the generation and recombination, and there are several ways by which the carriers can be generated. Okay, recombination, however, I mean, depends on something else. We will see. But the generation definitely involves some external excitation. The generation which we all have heard about, we have seen, is thermal generation. Okay, so that means just increase the temperature, you are going to have a certain um, like electrons and hole pairs generated because of temperature itself. So this is nothing other than the Ni which we had seen earlier as a function of temperature. So okay, so that is the thermal generation. Optical generation, so that means if you have a semiconducting material and if you have optical excitation or certain radiations, for example, optical generation and radiation, electron hole pairs will be generated. So remember, this thermal generation is what leads to this Ni as a function of capital T is in Kelvin, okay, temperature. This optical generation will essentially lead to electron hole pairs. Okay, that optical generation, that means the devices which respond to optical generation are the photodiodes, for instance. Okay, and then radiation leads to actually a detrimental effect. That means electron hole pairs will be generated inside the material which is unaccounted for. For example, in optical generation means what? You are essentially designing or a solar panel, for instance. So we need this optical generation so that the voltages can be generated, right? So that means optical generation is a good thing in a solar cell, solar panel, or even photodiodes. Whereas in radiation effects is kind of detrimental. That's bad. That means if you are having radiation, what will happen? There will be carriers generated inside the material, which will essentially disrupt the normal functioning of the device, right? So essentially, this leads to radiation hard technologies. So whatever is capital, I have written like this is called the rad hard technologies. So this is, I do not know if I will have the time for this. So rad hard technology typical example is SOI devices. Okay, so silicon on insulator. So whatever FinFETs you have heard of, right? So FinFET is the current technology node. So FinFETs are all rad hard, radiation hard. So that means they are immune to radiations. As I said, radiation is a bad thing to happen. So we are trying to remove it. Tunneling generation is again good and bad depending on the device. So if the tunneling generation happens in case of a standard planar MOSFET, which is not engineered to take care of the tunneling phenomenon, what will happen? This will lead to avalanche, which is a very bad thing. That means leading to breakdown. Okay. But remember, the same tunneling generation leads to Zener effect. Okay. Then band to band generation, which is basically the reason behind tunnel devices and tunnel diodes. Okay. So BTB, that is band to band. Yeah, Ashok, tell me.
So interband tunneling also exists.
Could you please increase the volume? I can't hear you.
Sir, I mean interband tunneling or intraband tunneling that.
That is the band to band.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, okay.
There are other tunneling. There are several methods, but uh, excuse me. Okay, there are several methods of band tunneling generation. So band to band is one of them. Which, for example, Zener effect is also a tunneling phenomenon called Zener tunneling. So there are multiple methods. Another one, this avalanche breakdown is also tunneling. This is primarily done through FN tunneling, that is Fowler Nordheim tunneling. There is also called trap assisted tunneling. I do not have enough space to write the various tunneling generations. So just understand that there are good effects as well as bad effects. The bad effect are this avalanching. Okay. So the bad effect is basically avalanche and breakdown, whereas the Zener and band to band are the good things that can happen. Okay. Now what we will understand is these are the various generations possible. There are other generations also. I'm not going into those details. This is just to keep things in perspective. Okay, generation kahan se ho raha hai? Okay. Now we will understand, like, if there are suddenly some electrons generated inside the semiconductor block, how do we model this and how do we analyze this? So the rate so first of all, in this simplistic model which we have designed, is that previously, in today's like when we were discussing about drift and diffusion itself, so this was a situation. There is a current coming in, current going out. Okay, and we develop the model. But here, if there is a sudden generation or even recombination of carriers inside this block, you are always going to have a delta in amount of current, which may be positive or negative. If it is positive, if delta in is adding up to the existing current, it's then what does it mean? That means that the current over here, okay, let me just write 1 and 2. The current at terminal 1 is larger than the current at terminal 2. That means if in plus delta in, so that means if delta in is positive, that means some amount of carriers are lost inside this material. Okay. Delta in can also be negative. That means the current at 2, terminal 2, is larger than the current in terminal 1. What does it imply? It simply implies that carriers which are generated inside, so that is aiding, that is helping in the current transfer. Okay, a very simple model which I've designed. Okay, so now follow this. This is going to be slightly complicated, but this is how, in fact, this continuity equation which we are going to learn now, that is the basis for almost, I mean, for all the junction devices, definitely. In fact, this continuity equation will help you for any junction device, not field effect device. Field effect device has got a different physics altogether. So continuity equation is the basis for the currents in BJTs, diodes, heterostructures, heterojunctions. Okay. Um, so anything which is like a interface kind of junctions, then you will always have continuity equation which is behind it. Okay. Lasers. Okay. All right. So let's begin. So the rate of electron accumulation per unit volume. So what is the volume over here? Again, the same thing. A is the cross section. Delta X is the thickness of the slice. So that means the rate of electron accumulation per unit volume is delta n. I have written, since it is a rate, I will divide it by delta t. Delta t is the time these electrons will take to cross this particular slice, okay, to traverse to this particular slice. So this is the rate of electron accumulation per unit volume. That is equal to, clearly, the amount of current which is lost over here. So In plus delta In divided minus In. I am calling it lost. I am assuming that delta In is positive, or it can also be delta In to be negative. Then you will essentially have a rate of electron, not accumulation, but reduction, you can call it. So this much amount of carriers which are essentially lost. Okay, by the way, I'm calling about the electron accumulation because I'm speaking particularly in terms of N. It is also valid for P as well. Okay. Now, notice something important is that this is the rate of electron accumulation. I'm not speaking about the charge accumulation. So that means I am essentially dividing this current divided by the dividing this current, the change in the current, that is delta In, by the A delta X, which is the volume, and also dividing it by the charge so that I can essentially get the net flux change. That means the number of electrons which is changing from the left hand side to the right hand side. Okay, understood, huh? So now this is basically the loss in the carriers from the perspective of the currents. Now comes the second phenomenon, which is basically the irradiation. It can be radiation or tunneling or optical or thermal, whatever it is. Okay, so if it is Gn minus Rn, by the way, or you might, some of you might be asking, sir, आपने तो बताया था कि अगर heat दे रहे हैं, then it is going to I mean, it is going to heat up the entire portion of the semiconductor. Then how does it change the current? You are absolutely right. I am just suggesting that, okay, let us say if there is a temperature gradient maintained, even temporarily, then what is the situation? Okay, so whatever may be the reason for the generation of the carriers, we don't need to care right now. We will only think that electrons and hole pairs have been generated. ठीक है, क्या होगा, कैसे हो रहा है, नहीं हो रहा है, हम लोग वो बाद में देखते हैं. And that will essentially depend on the devices in question. Okay, so whenever we are discussing about tunnel, like I specialize in tunnel field effect transistors. So if it is tunnel FETs, it will be band to band tunnel generation. So you have to do the analysis for that. If you are speaking about, let us say, the Zener diodes, then this is the thing. Okay, then optical, the people who are in like photodiode kind of research, they are essentially working on that. So it will essentially depend on which particular generation mechanism it is. So we will not get into that. We will see where these generation mechanism will come into the picture in this model. Okay, but as of now, we are just considering the most generalized case of generation and recombination. Okay, na? All right. So if this is the equation which we are writing for electron accumulation, so this is basically one. Second thing is that the generation rate is Gn, which will essentially add up, obviously, because this is electron accumulation, and it will subtract out the recombination rate Rn. So Gn and Rn are just two arbitrary symbols which I have used here just for illustrative purpose so that we can understand. Okay. Now there is something which you need to understand very clearly. Notice that recombination rate Rn is always proportional to the instantaneous carrier concentration. इस बात को समझना. Whenever we are having a block of semiconductor material like this, and the electrons are essentially moving around here and there, okay, then you will notice that if there are 10,000 electrons, now the probability that this 10,000 electrons will recombine is essentially dependent on 10 to the power of 4. What is the rate of recombination? That will be proportional to 10 to the power 4, isn't it? Suppose there are only 10 electrons, then the probability of recombination will be proportional to 10. I'm speaking proportional, not equal to. Okay, this is just simple intuitive thing. And how do we analyze this mathematically? Because this proportionate will not help us in developing the model, right? So we will try to give an expression for this proportionality constant. ठीक है, अब इस proportionality constant को हम कैसे निकाल रहे हैं, अब ये समझना है इस बात. Suppose there is one electron here which is at t equal to 0, and we have applied one bias to this semiconductor block. This is a semiconductor block. Okay, then what will happen? There is a negative and this is the positive, so obviously this electron will start moving in this direction. So let us say that we are trying to find out how far or how long that electron can exist before it dies out. Dies out means essentially it is recombining with some hole somewhere or some trap somewhere inside that semiconductor block. So how will be the motion? Clearly it will start accelerating in a one direction, then it will get one collision, scattering this straight it will go, and finally it will suddenly recombine over here. So essentially if you find out, this duration is basically the time when this electron was born in the sense like it was generated. Okay, this is basically generated, okay na? And this is the point where it has recombined. समझ में आया ना सबको? So that means from 0 to this particular point, which we are going to have a very fancy name for that, let's call it tau n. Okay, so this 0 to tau n is nothing but that the lifetime of this particular carrier, isn't it? So obviously this tau n is the electron lifetime. Understood? So this is the basic concept of the lifetime. That means the duration between the interval between the generation of the carrier and the recombination of the carrier. Okay, now if there had been no had there been no volt bias, what will happen? It will not be moving in terms of the space, but still there will be a carrier lifetime. How come? Then what the situation will be something like this blue over here. Suppose this electron is here, you have not applied any biases, then what will happen? Electron will go here and here and here finally, and it will recombine here itself. So that means the net motion in a particular direction is 0. But here I have drawn t, that means time. So with respect to time, it is always going to advance with respect to time. Okay, everybody, are you with me? Please understand. So that means applying a voltage simply ensures that not only with time, the carrier will also move in distance. Okay, but if there is no voltage, the carriers will be generated at one point in space, but at the same x value it is going to recombine, but after some time it will exist during its lifetime. Okay, very good. So now if tau n is the electron lifetime, yes, Sohail, please tell me, ask.
Sir, what is the unit of the y-axis? What is the y-axis in that semiconductor block?
Here actually I am not it is just the instance which I wanted to show. It is not a, I mean, in fact you can also consider it as space. That means the electron is going someplace here, so you can also make it like let us say, rather we can say this as y in nanometers. You can say that. Basically I'm mostly interested in that instance of the time from 0 to tau n. Okay, no? So all I'm trying to illustrate is that from here at t equal to 0 to t equal to tau n, the electron will exist. So this zigzag motion will happen somewhere. That is the Brownian motion, all of you know. Okay. Okay, so excellent. So now notice, what is the electron density here? As we have said, it is n, right? So that means n electrons will simultaneously recombine in tau n seconds, because tau n is the carrier lifetime of each of these electrons, right? So I drew only for one electron. Similarly, at t equal to 0, there will be not one electron, but n number of electrons is there at any instant of time. So n number of electrons will simultaneously recombine after tau n nanoseconds. Make sense? Correct? So n number of electrons are recombining in tau n seconds. I could have also put per centimeter cube, because n, remember, that's a carrier density or carrier concentration. So anyway, it doesn't matter. So that means in 1 second, this is just unitary method, number of electrons recombining will be given by how much? N by tau n. So what is the rate of recombination? Obviously, number of electrons recombining in 1 second is the rate. Rate तो वही होता है ना. So number of electrons recombining per centimeter cube in 1 second is the Rn. So per centimeter cube, to n is per centimeter cube anyway, isn't it? So Rn recombination rate is given by this particular factor. So actually, to be more technically accurate, I'll put this unit also. Okay, so this number of electrons recombine is this much per centimeter cube. तो ये Rn का यूनिट क्या होगा? So remember, this is very important that you know the unit. So any kind of generation and recombination factor, for example, in tunneling generation, which I am working on GOTFETs and all that. Okay, during my PhD, I worked on single electron transistors during my PhD in IISc Bangalore. So over there, ACTs are also tunneling devices. Okay, so that is another tunneling, by the way. That is called single charge tunneling. So there are several tunneling mechanism. Oh, a single charge tunneling. So this is ACT. This band to band is TFET. Band to band is also found in tunnel diodes.
Sir, all the electrons will have same tau n, right, sir?
Yes, because tau n will essentially be a function of the material again. Okay, so that means there are some materials which will have higher probability of recombination, some will have lower probability of recombination.
Sir,
Okay.
in that case, how if they are going to like recombine in the middle of the semiconductor, then how will the current be flowing?
No. This is current will be flowing. So notice this. What I have found is it is the simply recombination rate. Okay, na? So what we should be interested in, this is the rate at which the electrons will be lost. What we have not spoken about is there is a carrier generation also. So these are the generation rates, है ना? तो generation rate तो अभी तक हमने बात ही नहीं की है. These are only the theory which I just told you. Generation कहाँ से हो सकता है? Like after this, recombination is independent of generation. Okay, यानी कि अगर यहाँ पर कोई करंट है भी नहीं, suppose there is no current in this current flowing in through the semiconductor block, and there are no generation also, then will you have any current? No, because in whatever n is there, whatever carriers, free carriers are there. So what I'm suggesting is, you have a semiconductor block, switch off the light suddenly, and you switch off the bias also. Do you have any current? No, not at all. Immediately the current is lost. Why won't you get? Because there are free carriers anyway, but they will recombine within nanoseconds only. Okay, so that is the reason why you never get any current immediately if you switch off the power. There are free carriers anyway, but the free carriers will not be able to reach the terminals anymore, because this tau n and all that values I will tell you, that will be in the order of nanoseconds itself. So you will not get any current immediately if you switch off the power supply, immediately if you switch off the excitation. Okay, but you should never forget that this is only the recombination. But as long as you are applying any voltage, as long as there is a power supply or an excitation, there will be this G also, which I will come to that immediately. Okay, so the entire current which you will be getting is the sum of these three factors: 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so I have just discussed that the recombination rate is proportional to the number of free carriers in the material, but it is proportional. So it will essentially depend on the value of tau n for that material. That means the carrier lifetime in that particular material concerned. Okay. Very good. All right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, excellent. Good. Okay, so now what we will do is, so if this is the definition of this Rn, तो हम अभी क्या करेंगे, ये जो इक्वेशन लिखे थे ना, उस इक्वेशन को we will write it for a differential element. Simple. ये डेल्टा n डेल्टा t के बदले में we will try to use differential calculus. तो basically यहाँ पर limit when delta t tends to 0. Okay, then delta n delta t becomes del n del t. Here also I will have to put the limit, because exactly at the delta t, when delta t tends to 0, this delta x will also tend to 0, because this cross section thickness will be very, very small. So this entire part is also limited by this delta x tends to 0, and I have just written 1 upon q at delta x, and above there is only delta in. यहाँ पर gn था, हम भी यहाँ पर gn लिखे हैं. The only thing I have done is, since we have understood अच्छा rn का क्या माजरा है, so we have simply removed that rn and put n by tau n. ठीक है ना? Excellent. Now I have simply reduced this entire kind of big looking thing into this. Remember, in by a is jn. That is the current density. ठीक है ना? And 1 upon q. Why is it 1 upon q? Because it is always on the left hand side. You will see it is an excess carrier. We will understand the concept of excess carrier after a while. So this is the expression we have got. So under equilibrium means steady state, definitely. So all steady state are equilibrium, as I told you. So that means this variation with respect to time t is always going to be 0. Yes or no? Under equilibrium. So remember one thing, that all steady state is in equilibrium. All equilibrium is not in steady state. Okay. So under equilibrium, delta n delta t is 0. Okay, because it is in steady state. Delta j and delta x is also equal to 0. Why? Because in equilibrium we know that there is no net movement. Okay, so it is possible that this is 0, but this is not 0. That is the case of steady state. That means this is DC. Simply put, that is DC. We will look into the steady state situation in a minute here. जैसे कि यहाँ पर delta n delta t को 0 किए हैं because in steady state, but this is not equal to 0. We will come to that. Don't confuse right now. So if both of these are valid only under equilibrium, remember, then this is one equation and this part is another equation. So delta n delta t is 0. बढ़िया है. And this part, यहाँ पर क्या है? This part is 0. Delta j and delta x is also 0. So that means essentially gn will be equal to, इस n के बदले में मैंने n0 लिखा है by tau n, because this is gone and this is gone. So you are left with gn minus n by tau n equal to 0. So the only thing is that instead of putting n by tau n, I have put n0 by tau n. So that will be equal to Rn, that means recombination rate under equilibrium. Okay, so only under equilibrium we are going to have generation equal to recombination equal to n0 by tau n, where n0 क्या है? N0 is a generated carrier concentration. So that means if you are having some generation or excitation going on, then उस excitation के लिए कितना additional carriers generated हुए हैं, not because of in and in. Okay, so the extra number of carriers which are due to this generation phenomenon is given by n0, whereas n kya hai? That is the instantaneous carrier concentration n by tau n. So clearly you can understand that if I put this n0 over here in this relation, so n0 by tau n minus n by tau n becomes n0 minus n by tau n. So one of you had asked a little while ago, right? So that means if all the electrons are recombining within tau n, then we don't even have the currents, right? That depends on the value of n0. So if n0 happens to be larger than n, you will always have some current, isn't it? That means the generation rate, the rate at which the carriers are generated, is larger than the rate that the carriers are lost. Okay, now this is the very much coveted continuity equation, the fundamental continuity equation. Okay, now So what have we dealt with as of now is basically the generation and recombination हो गया. लेकिन continuity equation, this is the form of the continuity equation. Now let us analyze it a little bit so that we understand what is the solution of this or what is the significance of it. Now you will gradually see that we are going into the same relations which you have studied in your diodes. Okay, probably in your BTech you have studied only the formulas. Now you will see how the diode equations and everything will come naturally, completely natural. So we are learning devices on a next level. Okay, so this is the continuity equation. So now under the steady state, तो जैसे मैंने बताया equilibrium में it is always steady state, that means time variation is zero. There is no net movement, इसलिए this part was zero. But if it is only steady state, that means DC bias kind of situation, only the time variance will be zero. Okay, so this is part is zero, I have written, is equal to the rest of the term. So this is the same relation. Continuity equation को ही लिखे हैं. Only condition is it is under DC bias. Okay, now if we assume that the diffusion is larger than the drift, okay, somebody should ask a question or it should arise in your mind at least कि सर हम ड्रिफ्ट को क्यों अलग कर रहे हैं. क्योंकि ड्रिफ्ट वाला चीज हम बाद में देखेंगे, बिकॉज दिस ड्रिफ्ट पार्ट इज व्हाट इज going to be very very important for you whenever you are making the real devices for circuits. When you are making, like in advanced VLSI design, I do not know if I'll be able to teach next semester. So if I teach advanced VLSI design, over there we will learn how to make the circuit work faster, how to improve the performance of your simple, let us say, full adder, whichever circuit you make. So my target is that full adder should work at 2 gigahertz for your i7 processor. Now that full adder, if it has to be a part of your i7 processor, then it should be able to respond to the 2 gigahertz clock speed of the processor, right? So how to make that? That will essentially depend on the carrier drift phenomenon, and that is what I've written over here as dielectric relaxation time. So we will understand that, but and that will come through drift, okay, when you have applied the biases to your processor. But before that, let us understand what will happen for the case of diffusion, because diffusion case is much simpler than drift. There is no bias. It's simply that diffusion kahan hoga yahan par? We have essentially got some carriers somehow, and there is more concentration here, less concentration there, so the carriers will move from left to right. Okay, the situation is simpler in case of diffusion. So let's begin with diffusion first. So if we assume that the diffusion component is much larger than the drift component, okay, remember the current will always be a combination of drift and diffusion, as we have seen in our previous lecture. So अगर diffusion ज़्यादा है drift component से, तब क्या होने वाला है? So we will be ignoring the drift part, so Jn will be equal to only the drift component. ठीक है? Again I am showing only for electrons. Holes के लिए यहाँ पर एक negative हो जाएगा, dp del p del x हो जाएगा. Okay. So anyway, so if this is Jn, then I will simply try to find out this del Jn del x. इसका derivative करते हैं. It will essentially turn out to be this. Okay, so I should also write that. So combining these two relations, what do we get? This equation turns out to be this particular form. All right. Now, notice that what is this N0? N0 is the generated carrier concentration. Okay? N is the instantaneous carrier concentration. Like I could have also written, since this is instantaneous, I could also write like this. But I'm just trying to avoid much of the jargons here so that it becomes easier for you to understand. Remember, N is a function of time t. N0 is not a function of time t, because N0 is a continuously, it's sort of a constant generation which is happening because of radiation or heat. Okay, remember, Ni was a function of capital T, not small t. Okay, this was right, this is wrong. समझ में आ रहा है ना? This capital T was Kelvin, temperature. It is not a function of small t. Small t is time in seconds. Okay, so यहाँ पर ये तो हो गया. Now comes a very, very important part. This is going to define the currents in BJT, uh, diodes, and any of the junction devices. Yeah. Notice, what is the significance of this? N is the instantaneous value of the absolute carrier concentration. This N0 is the uh, concentration of the absolute generated carrier concentration. Make sense? Absolute value. So if we take this difference, so I have taken N minus N0 to make our calculation simpler. So let delta N is defined as N minus N0, then this factor delta N is nothing other than the excess carrier concentration. Yes or no? Excess carrier concentration मतलब जितना carriers हम loss कर रहे हैं because n minus n0. So remember, later on when we speak about devices, this particular factor excess carrier concentration becomes excess minority concentration. Yeah, excess minority injection. याद है ना? You have all heard this term, I am sure. In case of MOSFET, BJT, diode, we used to say excess minority injection into the channel, excess minority carrier injection into the base region of the BJT. So this excess carrier concentration, what I have written over here, this phenomenon, when it is extended to the various devices, you will be calling it as excess minority injection. Okay, we will revisit that when we are discussing about the actual devices. Okay, actual devices means next class only, next class or next to next class. Of course, definitely after the midsem, we will be doing only devices there, no semiconductor business over there. In fact, as I have told you, in the normal semesters, if you had taken your admission or if you had registered in, let us say, in the first or second week of August, by this time we would have finished off MOS capacitors itself. All right, so if this is the excess carrier concentration, what happens is, if you take del of delta n, okay, then what will happen is, here you will be getting this del 2 del n del x. Okay, I forgot to write square here. Will be equal to this. Why? Because as I told you, n0 is a constant because of the generation process. Okay. Now, if we have this, so in this equation, what do we get? This del 2 n del x square can be replaced by del 2 delta n del x square, and this n0 minus n can be replaced by, this is n minus n0, तो यहाँ पर हम यहाँ पर minus delta n del tau n करेंगे. Yeah, Ashok, please tell me.
Sir, those N0 carriers are due to generation, right? So we need to
Sorry.
So this N0 is from generation, sir. Right?
Yes.
So
N0 is only for
it will add to the instantaneous. I can't
it
say.
will no, it will be adding to the instantaneous, but it will not, but the n0 value is always constant. So it is basically like this.
Sir, instantaneous means after generation. At that particular time, including generation carriers, we are taking it as.
Yes. I'll just show. I'll just illustrate and it will become clear. So okay. So this zigzag random thing which I have drawn, let us say this is your original value of n. Okay, and this difference, if you can notice, it is like a DC shift for this entire variation. So that is your n0. Okay, so that means if we are essentially trying to find out what is the value of nt, or you can even take nx also, whether it is spatial variation or the time variation, doesn't matter. So it is a random fluctuation, random generation of the carriers, right? So it will always be facing one DC shift thanks to this generation rate. Okay, Ashok, understood, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that means no matter if you are trying to do a del n del x या फिर del n del t, it will always be equal to del of del n del t or del of del n del x. Okay, very good. Okay, so now I have just added this delta n into this particular equation, and we have got this particular relation. Simply dn यहाँ पर लेके आए हैं. Okay, now this factor, now you can see it is a second order differential equation. Here this dn tau n, okay, we can put it as ln square, and this is called the diffusion length. I am sure all of you have heard this term. Okay, so this relation finally becomes this. In many cases, this is, in some of the textbooks I have noticed, they also call this as a continuity equation as well. So whenever later on we will see, when we are trying to find out the current, when we want to model the current inside a BJT, okay, IV relation of a BJT, it is a solution of this relation only. You have to just solve this. If the solution basically will be in this form, remember that it is a minus over here. In case of quantum mechanics, we had seen यहाँ पर minus होगा तो plus x by ln minus x by ln. यहाँ पर अगर plus होता, we will be in real soup because the carrier concentration cannot be a sine wave, right? And it is going to have an I if this was plus. So, I mean, as expected, mathematics never lies. So basically, this is minus. So basically, you will be having no imaginary business. Okay, so this is the general solution of this second order differential equation. Now what we will do is, notice again the same thing which we did for quantum mechanics. Okay, delta n infinity is equal to 0. Okay, so what does it mean? अगर यहाँ पर आप infinity बिठाओगे, यहाँ पर infinity बिठाओगे, यहाँ पर infinity बिठाओगे, so e to the power of minus infinity is anyway gone. E to the power minus infinity is 0 anyway. But in this case, what happens? Delta n infinity is going to be infinity, right? Because some constant a into e to the power of infinity is infinity. But we know that delta n of infinity is 0. Why? Because delta n hai kya? This is the excess carrier concentration. So the excess carrier concentration, if you go ahead, it will always die down, and at a particular distance, infinity away, it is always going to be 0 anyway. Physically, that's impossible to have infinity, right? So this delta n infinity is 0 means that capital A has to be 0, because capital A into infinity is equal to 0. Correct? Okay, so A agar 0 ho gaya, so delta nx is simply an exponentially decreasing function. Okay, that is a spatial variation of excess carrier concentration. Excess, that means this is the minority carrier injection kind of term. Okay, now instead of delta nx, I have simply replaced delta nx by n minus n0, so that you can relate to the original form which we had taken. Nx is equal to this. This is the form which you will find in Streetman or any of the device books. Okay, so this is a spatial variation of absolute carrier concentration, and this is the excess carrier concentration. दोनों में अंतर है. यहाँ पर excess word नहीं है, यहाँ पर excess है. This is a short way of writing the same expression. Okay, so this is basically the variation of the excess carrier concentration with space. X हो गया. So the variation with respect to x has come about. Note, considering the diffusion term. Okay, so the why is it with respect to x? Because diffusion is a phenomenon which responds to spatial variation. है कि नहीं? So that means whenever I wrote, okay, the as x goes by, so nx decreases. So ये क्या है? आज सुबह ही हमने देखे थे ना, there will be higher current here, low currents will go on decreasing as this concentration gradient decreases. Makes sense, right? So that means if you want to get the variation of n, that means the concentration, free carrier concentration with respect to x, you have to consider the diffusion phenomenon. अभी आते हैं drift वाला. अच्छा, anyone having any doubt until now? These are very, very important and crucial thing for your understanding. Okay. Now we will understand how things become complicated when you are operating your circuits at high frequencies. In fact, many of you must have heard there is a special subject called RF microelectronics. Okay. Why is there a separate subject called RF microelectronics? Did it ever occur to you? Normal microelectronics is there, analog IC design is there. RF का special RF करके क्यों है? Because when you are trying to work at very high frequencies like radio frequencies, then this dielectric relaxation time will come into the picture. Okay, so we will understand what is that order of time beyond which you have to specifically take care of special attention about this. Okay, those of you who were there in the demonstration for gate overlap tunnel FETs, I do not know. I think I remember seeing Ashok and some of you maybe, I do not remember. So in that we had explained like one of the major hurdles we are having for low power devices. So the devices which work under low power, they are definitely good for saving power and all that stuff, but usually their high frequency performance is deteriorated. So yani ki if you want to get something, you have to sacrifice something. So its high performance part is actually degraded. So I mean, that is one of the troubles which we have to figure out in our research group, how to make GOTFETs work faster, perform better, even at high frequencies. All right. For example, FinFETs. FinFETs are made to work better at high frequencies, but FinFETs are the worst in terms of power consumption. I mean, they are like power hogs, and that is the reason why your smartphones operate. I mean, the power dissipation is so much higher in case of your smartphones and even your laptops. Okay, they are like power hogs, but the only thing is that you are essentially having a much better performance, right? Okay, so basically if you ask then sir ye TFET karke kya hoga, the TFETs are not targeted for processors, so to speak, but for all the peripherals it is perfect, because the peripherals never exceed 1 gigahertz, but the processors do. So if I want to make your smartphone screen, for example, okay, the LCD screen, if we make with TFETs, GOTFETs, then your power consumption will be reduced. But at the same time, your screen doesn't need to work at like 2 gigahertz, right? So why do you want to use FinFETs for your screen? That's a CCD, like charge coupled device. So those are the applications. For example, memories, flash memories. Okay, over there, TCAMs. Okay. In your VLSI design, you must have studied memories by now, right? DRAM, SRAM. So in those memories circuits, we have already published a lot of papers on designing memories using uh, this GOTFETs. Okay. So in GOTFETs, you have better dielectric relaxation time. Okay. So let's see what does it mean. So as far as this course is concerned, we have understood that diffusion will help us understand the spatial variation. So how does the excess minority carriers, okay, yeah, फिर excess carrier concentration will vary with space. So when we want to investigate about the drift, then this is the situation. This is a very, very important thing to understand. And whenever you are working in industry and trying to design very high speed means close to 1 gigahertz or so, we will see why suddenly 1 gigahertz. And then you have to keep these dielectric relaxation time in your consideration. उस हिसाब से आपको डिवाइस को ही बनाना है. Or you can suggest, sir, like if you are working in Intel, you can tell, sir, with this particular frequency we cannot have these devices, we have to go for this particular architecture, this particular circuit, because the device itself will not be able to sustain such high frequencies. Okay, na? So this dielectric relaxation time is an extremely important concept. This will be, I mean, the kind of jobs you can expect from BITS after your ME. those people will not go into this much details, quite honestly, but I'm doing it for some of you who might think of going for a PhD or higher studies or something, or even in industry if you want to go into research later on. So after 5 years down the line, suppose you are doing excellent, and then you want to pursue a research career, R&D in industry itself, you want to go into R&D, then this dielectric relaxation time will be useful. So as I said, dielectric relaxation time is going to be important for you when you are designing the circuit. Okay? So most of the job profiles which you will be getting after your ME in bits will be verification and testing, which doesn't require so much. Okay, but I'm teaching you so that uh, you will, hopefully you will retain something. These are anyway getting recorded, so you will have this material. So okay, so if it is a dilated relaxation time में हम लोग क्या करेंगे, drift वाला part consider करेंगे. Okay, very good. So drift वाला part जब हम consider करते हैं, that happens even irrespective of the generation and recombination. So let us consider the case where generation equal to recombination. So what happens? Clearly, कहाँ गया? हाँ, the generation and the recombination term से भी ऊपर है. This Gn and Rn, they are equal. So that means they will simply cancel out. When is that possible? Generation equal to recombination? Just thermal heating. Okay. So in fact, that is the reason you will notice that your any chip you find, they are always what? Covered with hard plastic cover. Yes or no? कोई भी chip ले लो, आप देखोगे plastic cover होता है. Why is it? Because they will ensure that there is no optical or even, and not only that, there are other ways to even remove the radiation also. कोई भी chip में, there are methods to make it rad hard. However, so let's come back to the point. So here in dielectric relaxation time, what we will observe is that suppose the generation and recombination are equal. That happens when heating is the only influence that you are getting except the biases. So what will happen? The generation rate, recombination rate will be the same. Now the continuity equation will be reduced to only this, plus Gn minus Rn part is gone. Okay. Now since delta n is equal to n minus n naught, आपका ये क्या हो जाएगा? Simply I will replace this del n del t by del delta n del t, and this will remain as it is. Cool. Then what we shall do is remember. Okay, this is something which we did in today's lecture in the morning. So Jn is equal to conductivity into F. F is the field here. Okay, इसका हम ये del J and del X निकालेंगे. Notice this is for the drift. Okay, so this is drift over here. यहाँ पर क्या था? Diffusion. Okay, so keep that in mind. So but in reality it will be a combination of both of them. So that means in reality when you are making a new circuit or a device, so finally you will be having dilated relaxation time as well as the spatial variation. ये होगा diffusion के कारण, ये होने वाला है आपका drift के कारण. Okay, excellent. So delta J and del X is equal to conductivity sigma n del F del X. ठीक है. अब यहां पर मैं मैक्सवेल इक्वेशन को यूज करूंगा. दिस इज द मैक्सवेल्स इक्वेशन, राइट? I'll call it Maxwell's first equation. Divergence F is equal to rho v by epsilon silicon. ये epsilon silicon को यहां लेके, so that essentially becomes divergence D is equal to rho v. यहां से ये आता है basically. Okay, these are known to you. Okay, so this is, what is this divergence? This is going to be del f del x plus del f del y plus del f del z, ignoring other axes for simplicity. That is what I have been doing for the entire course. Okay, so del f del x will be equal to, ये rho v क्या होगा? This will be the charge because of the minority excess minority carriers या फिर excess carrier concentration. So minus q is electronic charge. We are speaking about n everywhere, electrons. So minus q into the excess electrons divided by epsilon silicon. Just we will put this over here. We will replace this del f del x with this. आपके पास क्या रह जाएगा? माइनस q into sigma n into delta n divided by epsilon silicon. ठीक है? So from there, what do we get from this relation? Del t of delta n is equal to, इस रिलेशन को हम यहाँ पर 1 by q, the same thing I am putting here, 1 by q into del j and del x के बदले में हम इसको बिठाएंगे. So this q will cancel and essentially you are left with this integral. Solve करो, बाद में देख लेना. Like this is very simple. You are left with this particular term, rho n epsilon silicon, and this is a natural logarithm. So this is the final relation which you have got. Okay, enough of mathematics. Now अभी ध्यान से इसको समझना. This is going to be your real engineering and interview question. The tau n, तो यहाँ पर भी मैंने tau n लगा दिया क्या? Let's put some other. Okay. Because tau n I have used earlier as carrier lifetime, right? So let me use some other. Okay, so this tau dielectric relaxation time, tau di, इसमें अगर आप देखोगे ना, so this is called the dielectric relaxation time. What is the physical significance of it? Very, very important. Notice इसका, अच्छा, इस समझने से पहले इसका वैल्यू देख लेते हैं. Rho n, that is the resistivity of silicon for electrons, okay, is around 6 kilo ohm per centimeter. Okay, resistivity. Epsilon silicon क्या होगा? 11.7 into 8.85 10 power minus 14 farad per centimeter. Okay. Now, if you are this is ये per ohm तो नहीं होगा, right? This will be ohm only. Okay. Yeah. So now, if you just multiply these two values, epsilon naught will be in farad per centimeter. This is into centimeter. Centimeter cancels. Farad into ohm. So that will essentially, if you do the calculation, it comes up to 6.21 nanoseconds for silicon. These tau, rho n and epsilon silicon are something which I am finding for silicon only. Okay. So 6.21, ठीक है, that is the exact value. That will vary from semiconductor to semiconductor. What I am really interested in, this order, nanoseconds. So that means इसका अगर आप inverse करोगे, okay, what will happen? 1 upon 6.21 nanoseconds. That means 1 upon 6.21 gigahertz. Nano is 10 power minus 9 seconds. तो इसका अगर invert करोगे, that becomes how much? 10 power 9 hertz. That is gigahertz. So what does it mean? This dielectric relaxation time is in the order of gigahertz. Okay. Now, let us understand this meaning of this dielectric relaxation time. Anybody knows about it? Why is it so much important, as I'm telling you? And as you have noticed that in current technology, we are essentially pushing in the gigahertz, right? आप देख रहे हो ना, like many of you might be thinking, अच्छा, बहुत साल हो गए हैं, several decades have passed, we have not increased the processor speed beyond, let us say, in the order of gigahertz. Maximum क्या होगा? 3 gigahertz, 2.5 gigahertz. बहुत speed, high speed है, 4 gigahertz. Why doesn't it go to 10 gigahertz or something?
It will heat up like.
No. It's much more fundamental than that. Heat up तो तभी करेगा ना, like when you are essentially kind of sustaining that frequency for some time. You cannot even achieve that frequency. Heat up कब होगा? Only when you have given 10 gigahertz for 2 nanoseconds, and only then it will the question arises of heating up. ये 2 nanosecond का वो कभी reach ही नहीं कर पाएगा. It is impossible for us to reach those kind of frequencies with the standard technologies which we are talking about. If there is a new technology coming up, then that is a different thing altogether. Okay, अभी हम समझाते हैं. अभी पूरा अपना दिमाग की बत्ती जलेगी. देखो, notice when you are applying some voltage in a material. अच्छा, यहीं पर ही है. Okay, let me just explain with this. Okay, there is a semiconductor block, you have applied some bias. Simple. Now, this dielectric relaxation time, या फिर in other words, it is also called majority carrier response time, simply means this is the minimum time needed for the majority carriers to respond to the change in the fields. Okay, so what does it mean? You are applying a perfect square pulse, but the only thing is that this time period here is 0.1 nanoseconds. That means 10 gigahertz. क्या आने वाला है? Basically, what do you expect it to do? It is supposed to switch on and off. In VLSI design, you have studied propagation delay, fall time, rise time, right? So it will take this much 6.21 nanoseconds amount of time duration, okay, to even respond to this sudden change in the voltage. फिर suppose this is 0.1 nanosecond, so that means what? It is between around, let us say 0.1 तो काफी ज्यादा कम हो गया, मान लो ठीक है 0.1 nanosecond ही रखते हैं. Then what will happen? Your system will basically the input, suppose you are making a simple inverter, your input will even go up and come down even before the output was even able to sense that there is a change here. मतलब वो जब से वो चढ़ने लगेगा उसी समय आपका ये कम हो जाएगा. Logic. You understood, right? Your devices will not be able to respond to such fast, high speed logic transfer. Got it? Huh? So why is this? But in that case, you will be saying, sir, nowadays we are having even super fast and all that. In those cases, we use optical devices, optical generation. Okay, so in optics, you do not have this semiconductor scattering and all that, right? आपका ये rho n कहाँ से आएगा? That is the reason why OFC, optical fiber cables, and optical devices are much faster than this. Okay, so that is the reason why some of the fastest computers in the world, they are all optical computers. Optoelectronic computers, not optical computers, optoelectronic computers. So this resistivity, scattering nahi hai na light mein. So this resistivity will be kind of absent on, I mean, with respect to silicon, it is much less. This is 6 kilo ohm centimeter, that is much less. So as a consequence, in optical like computers and all that, optoelectronic computers, if you are making a complete processor using optical devices and every interconnect, instead of making it using copper wires, you are making it using optical interconnects, then they will be working much faster than this. However, if you are essentially trying to build one processor for Qualcomm, that will be based on solid state devices, right? So solid state will always have this basic fundamental bottleneck. So what does it imply? If you are trying to find out NT as a NT, that is a time dependence of the carrier concentration, you will notice that it is always going to decrease with time. Even the excess carrier concentration will also decrease, obviously. And N0 is going to be constant with respect to the time, as I had already discussed. Okay, N0 is the generation rate. It is invariant with time, and it will essentially decrease exponentially. Okay? उसका time constant for this exponential decrease is the dielectric relaxation time. Okay, so that means if you want to ensure that your uh, system, that your output or your device stabilizes before the next input comes, you need to allow at least uh, 2 or 3 time constants, that is 2 or 3 times of this dielectric relaxation time. Okay, very good. This is a very important thing. And the last topic, just give me another 10 minutes or so. This is also very, very important. This is not done. For example, dielectric relaxation time is very, very uncommon. In most of the textbooks, you won't find this. Okay, this is very common because diffusion लेकर ये जो expression है, this is important for developing the IV relation. So this is there in every textbook. Dielectric relaxation time is somehow, I mean, not present in this very basic BTech level textbook. So I'm telling you, and this is something which is almost invariably not there. But I don't know why. I should write a book myself. Okay, so mass action law, which we said, as I told you earlier also, we always say NP equal to NI square. अरे यार ये सिर्फ equilibrium के लिए है. Now we are speaking about carrier transport with biases, right? From the next classes, we will start with diodes itself, junction itself. उसके बाद, so that means in those situations you cannot avoid the influence of the biases. So let's look into the situation where if there is a bias on the mass action law. Okay. So this is one relation which we already know. Okay, n is equal to ni. This 1 and 2 I will explain in a minute. So this is a situation under low voltage when you have applied some amount of bias to this particular semiconductor block, not a junction. When we will be dealing with the diodes, for example, we will be adding 2 different blocks. One will be n type, one will be p type. Okay, later on we can even make one with germanium, the other one with silicon. That is a heterostructure or homojunction. Okay, sorry, that is a heterojunction. Okay, this is the standard p silicon and n silicon junction is the standard homojunction basically, because the material remains the same. You are simply changing the doping. So in homojunction, what is the advantage? दोनों साइड में आपका बैंड गैप एक ही रहता है. Okay, so the band offset which you will be getting in homojunction is simply the contact potential or built-in potential. Okay, now suppose I am replacing this n silicon by n germanium, then this is much lower than this band gap, right? So even under equilibrium case, like when you have not applied anything, you are always going to have a band offset. Okay, we will look into that. So that is a special case that is called heterojunction. So you are essentially the bottleneck. What I mean, the main summary which I'm trying to get at is that when you are adding 2 semiconductor materials side by side, here it is just one. सिर्फ सिलिकॉन ही मान लेते हैं for simplicity, या फिर सिर्फ germanium, any semiconductor material, that's it. Under low voltage, low bias, V is low, then what is going to happen? We have seen previously, first thing, if we did not have any biases and we did not dope it, where will be the EF? EF will be exactly at EI. देखो EI हमने draw किया है ना, dotted lines. Intrinsic Fermi energy level. When we have doped it, then EF will be different from EI. Cool, हमें पता है. But again, that EF will be parallel to EC, EV, and EI. Same point, right? Now what we are telling is that if we apply a bias also, तो हमने अभी कौन-कौन से complication किए हैं? एक complication है doping कर दिया, so that means EF and EI are different. At the same time, we have even added one voltage V. Then what will be the situation? Okay. Okay. Got the question, everyone? We are gradually moving into devices now. Yes. Okay. Suddenly you will find, okay, यहाँ पर और एक material घुसा दिए, अरे ये तो diode बन गया. So something like that will happen. So now fundamentally, if you notice, this is minus and this is plus. So if we are applying a minus sign, minus voltage over here, what will happen? There will be more number of electrons, right? Okay. And over here, what will be the situation? Less number of electrons. I will not call it as a whole as of now because um, the voltage is low voltage. अगर हम बहुत ज़्यादा voltage करें यहाँ पर holes आ जाएंगे, but we will look into it later. Why are we calling it as minus minus? Just only less number of electrons here, more number of electrons on the left side, because it is negative. यहाँ पर तो ज़्यादा negative है ना. So this battery will supply more number of electrons over here, less number. And here, this positive terminal will essentially eat away the electrons from this end. Okay. But remember, this will always be under non-equilibrium because it is a constant battery which you have applied. It will always maintain that potential difference. Okay. Abhi kya hone wala hai? This is very important. Clearly, this N1, that means the number of free electrons on this end, left side, will always be larger than the number of electrons on the N2 on the right side, thanks to this bias. Okay. Now, notice what is happening. How did you define the number of carriers in one end? That was given by this relation, right? So N1 will be equal to EI Ni of this material e to the power of EF1 minus EI by KT. ये जो EF1 है, that is basically the Fermi energy level at this end. Getting me, everyone? Huh? Fermi energy level. So EF1 minus EI. देखो EI change नहीं होगी. क्यों EI change नहीं हो रहा है? Because you are not changing the material. EC, EI and EV are dependent on the material, so they will remain flat anyway. So the biases will change the Fermi energy level. Okay. Now the Fermi energy level will start having a gradient. Okay. So let us see how it happens. So the difference between EF1 and EI will define N1. Similarly, the difference between EF2 and EI on the right hand terminal will essentially define N2. अब यहाँ पर N1 और N2 में कौन सा ज्यादा है? Obviously N1 is more, has to be, because it is negatively charged. So what happens is the difference between EF1 and EI has to be more. That means, please understand, this is N1 and this is N2. If N1 is larger than N2, EI remaining the same, EF1 has to be larger than EF2. Yes or no? This is just common sense. Okay. So if we are making a division of this, N1 by N2 is equal to EI cancel हो जाएगा, same material. So basically EF1 minus EF2 by KT. Okay. Now, what do we understand from here is that the variation in the EF1 from one terminal to the other is nothing other than electronic charge minus Q into minus V. क्यों लिखे हैं यार? ये तो plus V होना चाहिए था. Because you are essentially traversing, I mean, EF1 minus EF2 is basically the electrostatic potential energy at this edge, at edge number 1, terminal 1, with respect to terminal 2. EF1 minus EF2. How much EF1 is larger than EF2? So from here, in the same, this is basically the traversal inside the semiconductor material. And now if we traverse with respect to the circuit, metal conductors over here, you are essentially going from plus to minus. So यहाँ पर ये minus V हो जाएगा. Okay. So essentially meaning that this difference in this Fermi potential energies is nothing other than the Q into V. Okay. And that is why this, since this EF1 and EF2, by the way, I'll tell you, this Fermi energy level is by definition defined for materials under equilibrium. And since this Fermi energy level is not at equilibrium and there is a gradient also, so we will call it as the quasi Fermi level. That means quasi means false. Okay. So the quasi Fermi potential energy or quasi Fermi level, whatever. So that will be, the difference in the quasi Fermi level happens to be equal to QV. Okay, very good. तो ये EF1 minus EF2 के बदले में QV लिखेंगे यहाँ पर. So this relation is the fundamental Boltzmann relation, which you will find in many textbooks. Okay. Now I am going to use this relation, EF1 minus EF2 के बदले में हम QV लिखेंगे. Okay. Remember, so if we want to write it here, is equal to e to the power of V by phi t is also, I mean, this is the way I prefer shorthand. So EF1 minus EF2 is Q into V, and KT by Q happens to be phi t. I told now this phi t will keep appearing in each and every equation in devices. So that's why I have put V by phi t. So what it means is, if you want to make a concentration gradient, that means one part of the device is having a different, here n1 is different, n1 is different from n2, you have to automatically, it can be achieved by application of a bias. ठीक है. अभी n1 और n2 हम दूसरी तरह से भी हम चेंज कर सकते हैं. कैसे? हम डोपिंग कर सकते हैं, right? So we have seen how to change the free carrier concentration, doping. Now we are seeing that we can also change the free carrier concentration by application of the bias. Cool hai na? Okay. So now let us look into this case when we are applying a slightly higher voltage. This is a much more practical situation. ये वाला situation जो हम देख रहे हैं ना, slightly higher voltage, this is what will basically lead to diodes, junctions, BJTs, everything. कैसे? यहाँ पर मान लो we have applied a much heavier voltage. यहाँ पर I symbolically I used just one battery symbol here. I have used two battery symbols here, such that the Fermi energy level का जो gradient है, that is much higher now. That means here EF1 was between EI and EC. That means this was N-type. But if the voltage is sufficiently large, notice I am not even putting one another P-type block or N-type block. I am simply applying the biases. अगर हमने bias काफी ज्यादा दे दिया तो क्या होगा? This EF2, this particular edge, will essentially be having a higher gradient, and it can even come down below EI. So if EF2 is below EI, that means between EI and EV, then this type has become what? P-type. P-type में क्या होता है? The Fermi energy level is between EI and EV. N-type में क्या हो रहा है? Fermi level is between EI and EC. Correct? So that means you are creating the PN junction itself using biasing. ध्यान से समझो इस बात को. So if you apply a sufficiently higher voltage, it is possible for you to even create N-type and P-type just by biasing. That will definitely be, it will be much easier because you don't have to apply so much higher voltage because you are anyway wasting power, right? So basically we will not be applying such high voltage, but we will be doping it separately. So that will be giving us P and N-type region and a diode anyway. But all I'm trying to tell you, it is technically possible to do it. Okay. Now, if this is a situation, then N and P का क्या लिखेंगे यहाँ पर? N1 is the same relation which I wrote above. Over here, P1 का क्या रहेगा? This is not P1, this is P2. This is terminal 2, right? Terminal P2 will be equal to Ni EI minus EF2. Okay. Now we will just make a product N1 into P2. That is NP. We can remove this 1 and 2 subscript now. So N into P will be equal to Ni square into EF1 minus EF2 by KT. Again, EI will cancel because it's the same material. Okay. So then EF1 minus EF2 हमने तो देखा था, ये QV है ना, that will be equal to V by phi t. So this is the mass action law under bias. So now you can clearly understand that if you are not applying any bias when it is under equilibrium, what will be the value of V? Hello? Zero. Yes or no? You are not applying any bias. When the material is at equilibrium, this V will be 0. So e to the power of 0 is 1. So NP equal to Ni square. The whole world knows that NP equal to Ni square, but they never know that if you are applying a bias to the same material, this NP product will increase exponentially. समझ में आ रहा है? बहुत बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट एंड इंटरेस्टिंग बात है. हाँ अशोक.
Yes, sir. So
Yeah.
because of this high potential that we are applying, we are in the MOSFET also we are getting accumulation, depletion, and inversion.
This is one of the factors, definitely.
Yes, sir.
Definitely.
Sir, I have heard this. Like, if we want to deplete, we can also take the metal that we are taking. We should adjust the Fermi level such that depletion will happen without giving potential.
Yes, those are called junctionless transistors.
Yes,
So
sir, yes,
in
sir.
those devices, what happens is you have to essentially choose the contact metals in such a manner that its contact. We will see that in when we are dealing with MOSFETs. So basically, what happens if you look at the uh, flat band voltage? Okay, let me. Okay, flat band voltage. So you know this? I do not.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
I do not know how many of your friends remember. Okay, so this is one major factor when we are determining the VT. This is a very, very standard and old relation. Uh, Modern devices have a slightly different form. But anyways, this is the equation which probably all of you know. So I'm telling you, this is a surface potential to phi f, minimum surface potential necessary. So that is why this is the minimum gate bias necessary to invert the channel. So this is why it is called the VT. Anyway, so यहाँ पर if you notice there is a VFB over here. That is a flat band voltage. We will understand this in much more details. ऐसा नहीं है कि मैं ये MOSFET यहीं पर ही छोड़ रहा हूँ. Okay, so this VFB is over here. This QIT is the interface trap charges. Let us say your interface and the fabrication process is flawless. So QIT is gone. This phi ms happens to be phi metal minus the phi is basically the work function of the metal divided by the theoretical work function of the semiconductor. Why theoretical? We will understand that later. So the point is, we will choose the metal in such a way that this difference itself will be good enough to invert the channel. So you can understand that it is possible for us to either apply much higher VGS so that the surface potential increases, or else we can increase the VFB on its own. VFB हम कैसे बढ़ा सकते हैं? You can increase fine metal. Okay, with modern fabrication technologies, it is now possible to basically make an interface between any metal and an oxide. Earlier, it was not possible. So these are called junctionless transistors. That means you do not even have to bother about doping the source and the drain regions. Those details I'll come much.
Sir, and also when talking about dielectric relaxation time, you have kept the Zn equal to Rn, I mean generation equal to recombination.
Yes, yes, yes.
So what happens if they are not same, and in which cases they are not same?
Actually, I'll tell you, this generation and recombination term is actually considered in the diffusion part. Okay, if you notice the generation and recombination, what does it actually mean? Generation and recombination is basically telling you the number of excess carriers. So that means it is simply increasing the carrier concentration, correct? So that carrier concentration part, this Gn and Rn contribution in the current is essentially taken care of in the when we are speaking about the diffusion concept over here. Okay, so that means when you are essentially designing the device or the circuit, including the spatial variation of the excess carrier concentration, okay, na, it will automatically take care of the generation recombination. So it is not good enough to consider the same factor, this n0 minus n by tau n, this factor again in case of dielectric relaxation time. So that means you are essentially adding 50, let us say, to both. No. This generation recombination, either you consider in dielectric relaxation time when you are considering drift, or you have to consider when you are considering diffusion. So what is usually considered is that generation recombination simply adds the concentration of the free carriers, right? So we will consider it for the analysis of the concentration gradient, that is the diffusion phenomenon. So that's why this n0 minus n by tau n, this factor, if you notice, delta n, this has come about in the spatial variation only. Understood, Ashok? So we are not essentially considering it for the dielectric relaxation time, where we are considering only the drift. So that means when you are making a fabricating, or when you are doing a real life tape out, when you are making an IC, when you are making a designing a chip over there, what we will do is we will consider generation and recombination as part of the diffusion process, when we will consider the dielectric relaxation time as a part of the drift process. Okay,
Yes.
very good. Achha, why isn't anybody else asking questions?
Actually,
So, yeah.
we are preparing for a project of JLFED, sir. So there we have got this type of question.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Problem. Which is it, a project or literature review?
Literature review, sir.
Ah,
Actually, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Shashank and me, Shashank Nadan.
Okay, good, good, very good, awesome. We will be getting. We will also be having one literature review after midsem. Okay, but in that midsem literature review, you all of you will be having the same thing, so that I want all of you to discuss and basically come out with more and more um, results. Okay, so let me just stop this recording. So today's class is done. Okay, so just to finally summarize, we have done generation recombination, continuity equation, dielectric relaxation, and the mass action law under bias. Okay, in the next class, we will essentially um, deal with something very important called Debye length. Okay, that is also something you have to keep in mind in modern technology. Again, Debye length is hardly present in Streetman or Nieman or all these BTech level textbooks. Reason being, those books were written in 1970s or 1980s. So the current technology with 7 nanometer, 5 nanometer, then this Debye length becomes really important. We will see that in the next class. And then we will deal with contacts. Okay. Probably that will be the syllabus for midsem. Yes, Akash, please tell me.
Sir, in NMOS, when we are doing the scaling technology, we face some short channel effects